Alright guys, continuing. Now we added this right here. Let's go ahead and press M and move it to this layer. Now let's go over to this layer, select it, and add a material to it. And we're just going to make it shadeless. That's all we got to do there. Now from here, let's jump over to the compositor, use nodes, backdrop, and let's begin. Shift D, and we're going to duplicate it and just change this one to dot, and we're just going to just put out alpha over with Shift A and just connect it. We want to take this image, put it down, and put this image over it, and this is what we got. And we'll select this, go over to default, and we'll make it unselectable and make it call it whole. Now let's render it. It renders this, and it renders that, and that looks pretty good. Let's jump over into the compositor. Now Shift A, color. We'll work on the circle first. Filter, blur, change this to fast Gaussian. Oh yeah, Shift A, add an output viewer. Pull the viewer out over here. Let's increase this to 50. And then let's duplicate it, connect it up. Let's duplicate it again and connect it up. Alright, we'll teach it a lesson. Let's duplicate it again and connect it up, and that looks pretty good. Now let's take this and connect it over to the first one right here. And if you hold down Control Shift and click alpha over, it'll connect this viewer to it. So voila. Now our picture looks a lot better, except the flower could use a little color work. Now, I know this is kind of a messy way to do things, but it gets the job done. And that's what matters. There's tons of ways to do this. I actually am really frustrated with Blender right now because I can't be able to create drivers that can control these buttons in the compositioner, so I can make the flower actually like pull it where it looks like motion blur is occurring. Kind of crazy on the Z factor, basically. Y'all see it when I get it done. Alright, so let's add a color RGB curve and connect our viewer to it. Just isolate it. Control up, maximize the window, and let's just play with this color some and see what we're able to pull out with it. Alright, so we're going to drag that down, drag red up, and add a filter, soften, and let's connect up to it, and that looks a lot nicer. Now we're going for an animated kind of look here, so that's why we got the edge. And soften just really, if we make this larger by pressing Alt V and holding down Alt and using the middle mouse button lets you move around the backdrop, we can see it looks a lot nicer than it did. If we hold down Control and Shift and click a node, it'll connect to viewer. It looks a lot softer than it did right there. So this really does make it look spectacular. Press V to shrink the background of the backdrop of the compositor. Hold down Alt, middle mouse button, and let's just get it back into view. And that's a nice way to work. I like having my picture in the back. It kind of keeps me inspired sometimes. So let's go ahead and add that nice glow overlay I had. Now this was something I saw on a Blender conference video from this year that I was pretty excited to see. So let me show you how I got it done. I'm going to create a mix node, disconnect this, connect the alpha. I'm going to turn off everything, and this is all I got, just that ugly mask. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a filter, soften of course, everything needs to soften. Come to notice it makes things look a lot nicer. Now, hold on, give me one moment. Alright, now we're going to select this, Shift A, filter, blur. And we're going to choose fast Gaussian and make it 20. And Control S, save it. And Control Shift, let's click this to connect to viewer, and that's what we got. So, this next part is even more interesting. We're going to take a color mix over here, and then we're going to select this mix right here and choose color invert RGB, and then plug it up here, and what do we get? Something weird. Let's raise this to 1. Let's change this to multiply. And what we got here is a nice little mask. Let's lower it down to 5. And we got this nice little overlay. So let's add another filter, soften, and now we have an outline of the flower. Now I love actually looking at this portion of compositing. I don't know why I'm so prone to ending up with these animation cartoony looking ones. I always am going for something realistic. So let's select this alpha over, Shift D, duplicate, drag this up, connect to it, drag this down to alpha it over it, and hold down Control Shift and connect the two. And what do we get? Let's click this. Let's click this. Alright, there we go. You gotta put this to composition, composite this part over that one. And if we look at it, our node mess ain't really that bad. We could put this all in groups and make it into nice little things right here. Now, this part right here, I'd like to discuss for a moment. This is part of something I've actually been kind of wondering about, with all of these different options and all of these different abilities that you have. And I have come to the conclusion that there is something to this that, I don't know, I think of it like color math. That's what I think of it as in my head when I'm using this stuff, because you multiply and mix and divide colors, and there's like this, I don't know, I feel like there's a mathematical system of actually having a sequence of colors that actually look good, if that makes sense. That's a strange thing to say. Alright, let's continue. So I'm going to press B, box select everything right here, and press Control G, then that makes it a group, then Control H hides all the useless nodes. Alright, now we're going to stretch it out and call this outer glow. Now Control S, save. And the useful thing about this is if you make another blend file, you can always use link or a pen and bring this node group into another file and immediately have the ability to add a glow to any image or, you know, something you're working on. So let's go take a look and make sure I got everything. We go into camera view and press Alt A. Alright, and that looks pretty good. Now, a couple of things I'm going to do just for the end here. I know I could have done a little better with some of the texturing, but time is always against everyone, especially me. Now, I'm going to select this middle vert, and then press Control plus, 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 and then go over here, press plus, add a new material, choose the 7 to make it a single user, and we're just going to change this to yellowish brown, and choose a sign. And now, if we go out of here and that's it. We got a pretty good looking flower that moves pretty nice. Now, of course, since I made this one from scratch, it came out a lot different than this one, but the same basic idea is here. I just may have had a better time modeling it and was a little bit less focused, so I may have done better as a result of that. Now, we could do a lot of stuff with this still. For example, we could, let's see, go over to BlenderWorks. Nothing's there. Oh wait, there's January. Let's look and see what this says. These appear to be some clouds I was working on. So what if we were to just click here, Shift A, Input, Image, Open, and go all the way to January and choose our cloud play. Raise this to 100, go to Silic, and I'm probably mumbling to myself here. That's probably because you should at least have a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing here. Some things I don't know if I'm able to explain it well. Let's see, it didn't come up. So, maybe we won't go that far. That's a little far to go for this tutorial. We will just view it one more time, just in edit view, meaning 3D view. And if I go ahead over here, set the directory to January, we'll make a folder, call it Alright, now we'll just name it that and enable alpha, so in case I want to overlay it somewhere else. And Let's see, let's go ahead and hit Control S to save, Control F12 to render. VVV, hold down Alt, move this over. And that'll do it. Happy blendering, guys.